My name's Lawrence Schultz. Some of you know me as Bannerman. Doing this Q&A for James Arb, and figured it'd be a lot more exciting if I put some clips to it that you can enjoy instead of staring at my mug. I don't particularly like staring into a camera and talking anyway. So here you go. So, first question, how did I get into arboriculture and why? Well, in 2003, I graduated with a bachelor's in environmental science into George Bush's America, so there were no environmental jobs available. A couple months later in the fall, a friend of a friend introduced me to tree work. I'd never even heard of tree work, and it didn't take more than a week or so for me to be absolutely hooked on it. Even though I was a ground guy for a while, I moved into being a climber pretty quickly after that, just because I would volunteer to do whatever. I wanted to get up there and do it. Uh, Two, who was slash is your greatest influence in the industry? Well, back then there wasn't really much social media as much as there is now. There was some YouTube stuff, and I gotta say, I mean, other than the people I was around, which weren't very influential in a positive way. But from YouTube, I'd say Reg Coates was one of the first people I saw really putting stuff out there that was amazing, rigging wise, and just uh, all of it. And I learned a lot by watching him, and I got a lot of ideas. And then after that, I'd have to say David Driver. Uh, just rigging wise, I was dealing with a lot of complex rigging situations, doing work in Brooklyn and in New York, and those guys rigging was their force distribution and their planning. Just the stuff they would show was got my mind thinking in a totally different directions, and I would see what they were doing, and it kind of helped inspire me because I kind of didn't have much of a mentor, so I was experimenting a lot, and I found a little direction and inspiration. And then as far as climbing influences go, you got your Mark Chisholms and your Jared Aberginas, and you see little videos of them online. But I'd have to say Derek Martin was putting out stuff around when the first rope wrench came out that really got me thinking about changing my system. Number three, favorite aspect of being an arborist and the worst. Well, my favorite aspect of being an arborist is climbing and working with trees and being outside. And the worst part is climbing trees and working outside because you gotta go out there, whether it's in some cases snowing, and I'm in Cali, so raining. Then there is, of course, people that want tree work done, the clientele, the homeowners, the people that hire you, having unrealistic expectations of what you can do or what you can get done, want you to, shape their tree like a lollipop or something ridiculous like that, or want you to do something extremely dangerous and they're ill equipped and they didn't tell you about the power lines on one side. And there's some of the ridiculous situations that come up, especially if you're a contractor and even a day to day employee. Speaking of being a contractor, that reminds me, you gotta worry about people you don't necessarily work with all the time, so you're not in tune. Um, you'll put together a well thought out rigging plan to make things go smooth, and then you just watch them not understand what's going on and totally botch it. Or you're up there in a precarious situation, you need it to run, or you need the rope guy to do something particular and you need them to do it well, and they don't. They hold the rope, they send you for a ride. There's just a variety of things that are sometimes out of your hands when you're in the tree and you're relying on somebody on the ground. And uh, another frustrating aspect is it always seems that the trees are never in the hands of people that know anything about trees. Trees are always governed or dictated or directed, and everything that has to do with them is usually managed by somebody who has no concept of anything about trees and doesn't particularly care about trees. and I find that very frustrating, and have found it very frustrating in my career. Number four, what would you like to improve on in the future? I'm constantly trying to improve on everything. It's one of the things that I guess keeps it from getting stagnant and keeps it from getting boring. Is I'm always tinkering and I'm always looking and still experimenting. And I was just at a seminar not long ago where Mark Chisholm actually spoke during a crane demo, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said if you're not a constant student, if you're not always looking to learn, then you're really missing out. And he's 100% right. Number five, what piece of equipment has made the biggest difference in your career? Climbing wise, the rope wrench, absolutely. The broader trees in New York, they're not as tall, 100 feet, but they're more broad than anything, and being able to redirect through the canopy was amazing. And as far as rigging goes, I would have to say the X rings. Before then, I was making. I didn't have a lot of money at the time, so I was putting little clevises on slings because I couldn't afford a block. On using carabiners and straps because I didn't have heavier duty stuff. And X rings came along, and they're cheap. They're super strong. You can put them all over the place and really distribute force, and that really was helpful for me. Number six, DDRT or SRT? Both. It depends on what you're doing and the task involved in the tree. I don't like this sort of divisionary kind of outlook on it, like the whole like steel versus husky and stupid stuff like that. I mean, it's both. There's applications for everything. It's like I got a new socket wrench. I'm gonna throw away my hammer now. I'm gonna hammer everything in with a socket wrench. No, it's another tool in your toolbox, and you use it. I use them both. I use them both a lot. In a big tree, I use them both to move throughout I mean, a blend. A blend. Anyway, I hope that lives up to the previous Q&As and the ones to come. Be safe out there.